in my mind, you've always been famous. You showed up as a comedian and you left New Jersey and you were just Chelsea. What was the period of the struggle and where was it? Or was it? Am I right that you were always famous?
No, I wasn't. I was, there's a story in the book about Montreal Comedy Festival. That was probably my first brush with stardom, and I blew it. I blew it at the Montreal Comedy Festival. I bombed so badly.
Yeah.
And then 72 hours later, I had a development deal with NBC because I went back to LA, did a spot at Luna Park, and Grace Wu, who was the only executive who hadn't been at my bomb, was there, gave me a development deal for $100,000. So that was a pretty epic moment and a pretty good kind of example of how things can turn around so quickly in your life. You know what I mean? Just when you think you're done, there is a rainbow coming your way, and it might be 2 days, it might be 2 weeks, and it might be 2 months, but it's coming. That's the way the world is, and that's the way life is. But as far as being famous, I became, I think, I did a bunch. I did Girls Behaving Badly. Then I did the Chelsea Handler Show, which wasn't successful on E! Then they gave me Chelsea Lately. And then I had my second book come out. I had written My Horizontal Life, which was my first book. That was I wasn't very well known then. And then with Chelsea Lately, and then my second book, it was kind of just like a perfect storm of popularity, and that's when everyone started to know who I was. So that's when that was like. Was
that 30, vodka? Was that
Are You There, Vodka? It's Me, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea Bang Bang were two big books that I wrote at that time. And
so that's 2007, 8ish.
I would have been 32-ish.
Right.
32 to 36. I was on that show for 7 years, I think. Everything is 7 with me.
Oh, yeah?
7, yeah.
Right.
7-year itch.
Right.
7 years, I was wrapped. I didn't want to do that anymore. This is my 7th book. 7, born February 25th. 2 and 5 is 7.
Nice. Do you still like writing the books? Do you like the process of writing it?
I loved writing this book because I felt like I was writing it for women. Like, for all women. Like, so many people ask me all the time about my confidence and about my fearlessness, and I've never considered myself to be a fearless or a super confident person. But after so many years and understanding how everyone else is and how so many people struggle with their confidence and with their self-assuredness, I realized I do have something that people need more of.
Right.
And that is belief in myself. I do believe in myself. You have to. And in order to get anyone to believe in you, you got to believe in you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to extend that to, like, I've been doing that in my life for many years. I'm always a fucking great friend. I will always pick you up and patch you up and put you back together.
Right.
But I wanted to do that on a bigger level and and just demonstrate what real sisterhood is.
Right.
You know?
It's weird that I read the book and identified with it and didn't realize it was written for women.
Well, no, I mean, it's written for everyone, obviously, but it's I'm a woman, you know, and that's who I relate to the most. But of course, it's for everyone's daughter and everyone's sister, and it's for anyone who doesn't feel seen, you know?
Yeah.
You have to see yourself to be seen.
Yeah.
And so now at this age, I finally understand what people are talking about when they say, "Oh, how are you so? Why don't you give a shit?" Or how did you get your confidence? It's like, I don't know. I honestly was born this way, but now I would like to share some stories to help you get it too.
Yeah, I mean, because that is what's very interesting about both the book and the special, are the stories of when you were little. Like, you do have this confidence. You knew at 8 years old that you had it, and it's surprising to hear that you lost it a little bit and then had to like kind of re-find it, but it's definitely hardwired.
Yeah. But that's blind confidence, because when you're unbesmirched and you're 8, the world hasn't done their number on you yet.
Yeah.
So you don't even know that things are going to be rough or tough or hard, or you're going to have emotional times and highs and lows. You're just going with whatever your personality is.
Yeah.
So it's like, to capture the essence of who you are and kind of as a child, before all the shit happens.
Right.
There is a period of time where you truly are you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you want to take through your whole life and adulthood, right? You want to go through life being
hanging that. Yeah. Keeping that going. But it's gotta be, I mean, it's somewhat upsetting, and it's kind of I kind of don't know how you do it. The bigger you get, the stronger you get. the more vitriol, it seems, you get from places, from a lot of these guys on right-wing television shows and shit like that. It's, are you just in a solid place? Like when people come at me for whatever and they're like, your bread looks burnt. I'm like, ah. But like it's all the things you're talking about being strong and mindful of yourself and your own strength. That's one thing. But then also to have it at the same time have people shooting arrows at you while you're doing that. That's a whole different level of the game. Is it natural to you? Do you find it troubling?
That's been the way it's been.
Just
since,
always.
Yeah. I mean, I'm threatening to a lot of men that don't want women to be independent.
Yeah.
And I'm annoying to a lot of men who don't like opinionated women. Like, I get that. And it doesn't bother me at all.
It just freaks them out.
It edits so many people from my life. You know what I mean? I don't have to waste my time with those kinds of people because they can't handle me.
Right.
And they think I'm too much or too loud or whatever they think.
Yeah.
That's not my problem. Like,
yeah.
I'm not worried about it. I don't care if I'm being blasted on Fox News or whatever. Like, that's not where my light is.
Did you have to learn to cope with it, or it was always just a natural instinct of,
I mean,
go screw yourself?
As a general rule, if a man is telling me what to do, I'm not that interested. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've definitely had my feelings hurt by being rejected or not being accepted by a group of people that are not straight white men, that are older and Republican or whatever. You know, I definitely have had my feelings hurt when it comes to being not included in things where you're like, I've earned the right to be here.
Yeah.
And why is this all men and this isn't me? But not to the point where I would ever let it run me.
Yeah.
I don't let things run me.
Yeah.
I take it
it's
in.
Impressive.
And I'm like, oh, that sucks. Or that person doesn't respect me as a comic, or that person doesn't think I, should have this job. Like, I was up for The Daily Show and I thought for sure I had it and I didn't get it. And then I heard all of this stuff, what was going on behind the scenes about me. And so many people were cock blocking me. That's what I heard.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, I had no idea all these people had such strong feelings about me. Like, I thought it was such an obvious gig for me, like no brainer. I could do this with my eyes closed. And I did it for a week. I, auditioned kind of. And I was like, oh, it's mine. And I was being led to believe that it was mine.
Oh, really?
And then when I found out what was going on behind the scenes, I just kind of had this attitude of like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with every single person that cock blocked me, just to make sure that they know what kind of person I am, just so I'm not holding on to this anymore.
Oh.
And that's what I did. And that
How did they take that when you showed up?
Well, they didn't know why. They didn't know I knew that what they had done and said about me, but I did. But I'd go to drinks with this person and drinks with that person, not with the agenda of getting the job. I had let it go.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure that they knew who they were talking shit about.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Who were they talking shit about? A perceived notion of you, or
just that
a rumor of
don't
you,
give
or?
it to her. She's too, I'm like a firebrand or a lightning rod, or I don't know the word. Like, I'm too in the news all the time. Like, I'm too much of like, I'm too out there. Like, I'm not, or that I'm too crass, or I don't know what the feedback was. It was just that a lot of men, a lot of men didn't want me to have that job.
Yeah, oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, with stuff like that, there's
job, which I'm sorry to interrupt, but everything you just described about being like a lightning rod and all that stuff it's what you want out of a host of The Daily Show.
Totally. But yeah, so that didn't that felt ick. And
executives?
Then, a lot.
Or writers, or
anybody involved.
Really?
Yeah. So but then I handled it with like the way that I want to handle things. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you that actually I'm totally competent, capable, and worthwhile. And I no longer am interested, but don't talk about me again. Like, you don't have nothing to say. You're wrong.
Good for you.